Hey everybody, my name is Rick. This is my good buddy Derek here. This is Right Now. This is a podcast where we start just a weekly thing where we're talking about topics, and just go over some things. And we'd love for you guys to share and like this, and if you like it, pass it on. So anyway, today, first episode right now, we're going to talk about. You're going to see I'm super crazy, and Derek is he's going to level everything out.
That's what
He's going to have the answers for us.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Answer man.
So here we go. So our first podcast or blog here is this is what I've been thinking about lately. Is this world's been around Earth millions of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have a faith. I'm a Christian man.
Mm-hmm.
But how am I supposed to believe that Earth's been around for so long, and then all of a sudden one day there's a man, right? Then a woman is formed from his rib. She starts talking to snakes, eating apples, and the whole thing falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but how does my faith grow from this? How do I look at that, but also understand that the Earth's been around for so long?
Well, that's a lot of what people have the difficulty with is squaring the science and the what they call sola scriptura, the word only. That the idea that they take the Bible literally. That this is the Earth. It was created in 7 days. And man came out of the dust, and woman came out of his rib, and that whole thing. What I found more importantly, and especially in the book of Genesis, is the idea of the metaphor of what God is for us as human beings. And it can work with science. It doesn't have to be oppositional. So what I found is that it's the idea that out of chaos comes order. Okay, so they set it up so that in the beginning there was nothing, and then God decides, let's create these things in a certain way, so that first it's the stars and the heavens, then the earth, and it comes down to animals, and then finally man being the pinnacle of what God wants to create. And when he does that, he brings him out of the dust, and it not necessarily doesn't mean like he created an actual man. What I find is maybe like the first Australopithecus or, caveman, Homo habilis, that looked up to the stars and decided, oh my gosh, there's something bigger than me. And they have the realization that there is this God in the universe. Now, they use that term, for Adam. And I forget what the Latin means for that. I think it does mean man or something like that. But anyways, we can go back and look that up. Then what he does is he creates woman out of man. Woman being the highest order of civilization. What
Higher than me?
Yeah, way higher than you. You're barely above like the little amoebas that are floating around in the beginning.
That's interesting.
But what I like about it is it says, look, God created man to be kind of dominant over this entire thing. And that doesn't mean that he uses it for waste. He's like the steward of it. Stewardship's a big deal in the Bible, especially about taking care of the planet, how it's supposed to be. So what I found is that, people say, well, then how can it be created in 7 years when you said like it's 13 million years or billion years old or something like that? It's the idea that God created whatever we're in. And if there's evidence to show that there's something scientific that happened, we can use that for our benefit. But we still have to remember what God's purpose is in that for us. That this is all of us to take care of, and woman is the civilizing order in our society, in all societies, and that man is supposed to be with her. Now, what you talked about, everything falling to shit, is that point where man decides, hey, I know there's a God and it's all created, but I want this. I want what God has. And that's that whole story of Genesis where Eve, who is the highest of civilization, is seduced by evil, the serpent, and says, try this apple. Then you'll know what God knows. You'll eat of the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Once you have the knowledge of what God is, the first thing they do is they get afraid. They become fearful. And so this terrifies them and they run and hide. And God goes, hey, where are you? And they're going, we're hiding because we're naked. They knew they were naked. What I love about that is that they suddenly realized who they were in God's presence, and that made them afraid. And then God's like, I give you everything and you do this? You dumbasses. Can't you just leave things the way they are? That's the nature of mankind. Now, what does that mean as far as science goes? Well, we are an evolution. We've come from this earth. Man comes from the dust. And then we evolve higher and higher. That's the civilizing force. The idea is not to take it literally and say, oh yeah, I can't believe in that in the Bible because I can't believe science because it doesn't talk about it in the Bible. Both need to be believed in. We have to use both. Does that help?
Yeah.
A little
bit?
I
think so. And
that's just my take over years of scholarly studying. Okay, actually just stuff that I've read and learned about.
And that's why you're here.
Yeah.
To lead me. I like the idea that the Bible's a metaphor.
Yeah.
You know, and it shows me a way to live.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to.
And also, though, for some people, it is literally the word for them. That people do take it literally, and I respect that too. You know, I'm not. This is one of my big deals, and you're going to hear me say this a lot. I do not argue beliefs. Okay, you can believe whatever you want to believe. That's up to you. What I want to know is what that belief does for you. Does that belief preclude any kind of science, and then we can't talk on a rational level, or does that belief allow you to expand and grow as a human being? You know, we can all say we believe in God, right? But if I believe in a God that wants you dead, I don't know if that's the same God that I believe in, because the God that I believe in, the power greater than me, wants everyone to be better and to live. I think that's the point of that story too, is that we can be better even when we're in our failings and fall short of what we're supposed to do.
Right. No, and that's good. And for me, it's just a way to live.
Me too. And I look to that book because it has wisdom in it. You know, you're going to find a lot of what we talk about is information and knowledge. And knowledge is great. It's very important, but we tend to worship at the altar of knowledge these days instead of looking at what wisdom brings. And that's from learning what other people learned before us or things that we have learned from our own experience that we can pass on to other generations. If you can't learn from wisdom, there's nothing that you can pass on. It's all just information. And you guys could Google that on right now on any of this stuff. And then what do you need other people's input for?
Right.
It's our combined experience that gives us wisdom. And it's all written down in a book that I believe in, and it's called the Bible. And all throughout, it has stories for us to lead our lives. But again, it doesn't mean that we throw out common sense. You have to use that too. God gave us that ability to use common sense.
Right. No, and that's it. You know. So anyway, number one vlog. We'll see you again next week. Like, share, pass it on. If you have any
Please.
comments, please leave them. We'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Share away. We are looking forward to seeing more of you. And thanks, Rick.
All right.
All right.
Next time.